Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Experts, the anti-podcast, as I like to call it. I'm the host, Jay Vix. This is our 103rd episode. Um, what a 4-year run, right? You'd think it's not too many per year, and it really isn't. But we've kind of slowed down the last couple of months, kind of regrouped, made sure our systems are good. But really, what this is our form of networking, right? This is how us as business owners we get out and we meet new people. We learn more about who they are, what they do, what makes them special, and then we just give them the video. It's a really terrible business model. It really is. You can't make money by giving away free video content. Um, but that's not why we do it. I'm not really I'm a little brighter than that, I think. We love Meet the Experts because it grows our network. We have found our best referral partners just by giving away valuable content, and our guests love it. Who doesn't love getting a video of everything who they are and what they do? Today's not going to be any different, but before we get started with today's guest, I do want to take a minute to let everybody know Meet the Experts is powered by Journey Builder. This is what we run our entire platform on. It's what we run our entire business on. It's our flagship software. It is your CRM, manage all your customers, your database, your conversations, your social media calendar, your posts, your texting, emailing, booking, everything you want, your website, funnels. I could go on and on. Anyway, all in one software. You can go check it out by going to www.getjourneybuilder.com, and it's the sponsor of Meet the Experts. So that being said, we shall move on. And if you want to learn how you can be a guest on an upcoming episode of Meet the Experts, stay tuned, because after Erin and I are done speaking today, I promise you, if you stay tuned till the end, I will tell you how you can be a guest on Meet the Experts. All right, listen. Social Security. I'm not quite there yet, right? But it's gonna be here. Like, life moves fast. Every year moves faster and faster, and it's good to know some of these things because we want to be prepared for the future, right? And sometimes we kind of think about the future and we get a little uneasy. Well, I met today's guest a couple weeks ago on the platform Alignable, which I have found to be awesome. It's like LinkedIn, but cooler and more friendly and more or less stiff, right? More relational. Um, and we had a chat, a little one-to-one chat, and I was like, I told her about the show, and she said she'd be interested. So if you are anxious about the consequences of when to claim Social Security and don't understand all the tax implications, I had no idea there were tax implications, by the way. Um, Erin can help you take the mystery out by sharing some options with you. Previously, she was a corporate accountant, and now she helps people at various ages and stages plan for this one-time decision. So let's get Erin up on the screen. Erin, hi, how are you?
I am great, Jay. Thank you so much for having me here today. I
Uh,
appreciate it.
yeah, I've been looking forward to it. It's good. I always get really amped up when I get to do another episode of Meet the Experts because they're just so much fun, and I love listening to people tell their story. And I learn. Gosh, I think this has been like an MBA, like 103 episodes of business owners from all over the place. But before we get into how you help people with regards to Social Security and their personal options for that and tax strategies, let's just take a minute. Let's learn a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Well, besides being a fellow baby boomer, I'm an independent resource. I'm aside from any agency, and I help others transition from that earned income into retirement income, like you say, by taking the mystery out of Social Security and taxes.
Awesome. So, you're in Florida, right? Nice, sunny, hot,
Yes,
humid Florida. Yeah. All right. Well,
especially
that's
today.
that's yeah, yeah. I believe it. I believe it. I have some parents that are or dad and stepmom who are leaving Florida to come halfway back. We're originally all from New Jersey, and they're halfbacks. They're going to move to North Carolina. So I get it. The heat. They couldn't stand the heat. They're getting out of the kitchen, right? Um,
No complaints, though. I love it here. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So let's talk about some of the services and who they help. So let's say somebody is interested, or let's say somebody gets referred to you. Like, how do you start that? What are the services you offer, and really, who is your target audience?
Well, generally speaking, it's people who have retirement on their horizon. But I will start with people who are at least age 50. That is because they're really planning out. People take at all kinds of ages between 62 and 70 for various reasons. And that's what I help them ferret out. Uh, I just have a couple I'm helping recently who are in their early 50s. So they're talking about maybe living abroad and how does that impact them. But generally speaking, as a Social Security analyst, I share and prepare that person who's preparing for retirement and how they can optimize for their particular circumstances for a one time decision. As a tax professional, I understand where Social Security and taxes intersect and where they don't, because the rules of either ones are complex, they can be confusing, and are time consuming to understand. So, what I do is I can clarify for those clients how those rules impact one another and help them to see and understand how this planning goes so that they benefit the most.
Interesting. So, in your early 50s, it's funny. I knew I was going to be interviewing you today. So, I decided, let me go to the Social Security website, the government website, and just see what I can learn from that. And it said I hadn't logged in since 2015, which was a little embarrassing. It's been 9 years since I logged into the website. But it had every like annual income I've made since I was 16 or 17 years old, like 1993. I was 17, I guess my first job on the books, and I think I made $825 that year. But it had it. It had every year listed, and I was like, "Ooh, that was a rough year. Ooh, that was a good year. Ooh, that was a rough year." um, and I'm pushing 50. I'm 48, and I think about these things all the time. So let's say, what would you say to people my age that might be coming up on 50, that might be like, what do I need to think about? What do I need to worry about when it comes to Social Security? How might you answer that?
Well, the first thing is it's great that you have gone online. Everyone should do that. And the reason is mistakes happen. Whether it's from the IRS or Social Security or our own calculations, you want to be sure that your income is being recorded appropriately at Social Security, because I would say by and large, most people have never discovered any egregious error. But then I have come across some people who have told me, said, my wages weren't right that year. And it's just like taxes. The onus is ours. We need to go and monitor that. Now, you don't have to do it every day, of course, but at least annually when your tax return comes through, I would say to check it probably 6 months out by the time the records go from the IRS to Social Security. Just check your 1040, see what was recorded there and see how it matches with what Social Security has. The other reason, especially for those who are self-employed, and in particular S corps, once
Mhm.
you start planning towards your exiting strategy, you want to understand, well, how much do I need to pay myself to be valid per the IRS? And how much do I really need to, get my credits in Social Security? By then, you've probably already gotten them, but to have that and then to understand what's legitimate per the IRS, and then how much am I going to need to exit uh, in planning purposes. And then something else that folks do, speaking of self-employed, you'll have a man and wife business, and the wife never gets any recognition for the income that she's done. People don't like to report their wages. You're actually cheating yourself, because those wages are what helps you build what your monthly amount of benefits are going to be. So as you can,
Interesting.
that's maybe a long way of saying that to you, but
Yeah.
there's just a lot of details. And to borrow from the adage, the devil's in the details. And so it is with all of this stuff, paying attention to the nuts and bolts and what affects what, and
Yeah.
giving the best outcome.
Interesting. Yeah, I noticed that, and I had known this for a while, and I don't want to go deviate too far, but now I'm triggering some extra questions that we probably weren't talking about prior to, but
That's all
the
right.
62, 65, and 70 are like those three ages where, like, if you work till you're 70, you're going to get the most in that Social Security check. And I I always kind of knew that, but I didn't realize the difference in between 62, 65, and 70. It seemed to be like, for me, it was like over $1,000 difference if I work the extra 8 years every month.
Well, because you're looking at what's called delayed retirement credits. So let's say if you take a person and they turn at their full retirement age, let's call it 60. Well, if it's 67, for round numbers, they're going to get $1,000 in a monthly benefit. If they wait each successive year from 67 to 68 to 69 to 70, that's 3 years, each at 8%. Now they're going to get 124% of what that full retirement amount would have been. But the interesting thing is, people always feel or understand and have the concept that waiting until 70 is the best. But I'm here to tell you that I've done enough plans and seen enough that it is not always. And that's especially in the case where you've got a couple.
Hmm.
There's there's a handful of factors that help form the guardrails of when I do an analysis. It's very personalized, very customized to a couple's intentions and their circumstances and how they want to live their retirement life. And that's what I help peel away and get to, the bottom line of what's good for them.
I love that. I love that. Erin, how long? So you've been a corporate accountant. You've been doing. How long have you been doing this strategy and this your current business where you're consulting with people?
I am in my fifth year now,
Okay.
and I actually found out about being an analyst because I was studying to be an enrolled agent. And the two of them together, I saw, wow, like many people, when I saw the security analyst, I thought, well, what's the big deal, right? You turn 65 and you get your benefits. No, the more I read, the more I wanted to know. I saw how the taxes were interacting with Social Security and said, oh my gosh, I've worked in accounting all these years. I've had my face in spreadsheets all day long. What happens to the person who doesn't do that? That's, they're a mechanic or they're a doctor or whatever. They're just not in that same world. How can I help them better understand what I've done? And I got into this actually because helping my mother. By default or design, I didn't take the traditional career path. Years after having my family and while working, I finished my degree in accounting and finance. Took me years, felt like I had a PhD. But almost immediately after crossing that stage to receive my diploma, I learned that my mother suffered a stroke. Well, her role changed and so did mine. Intervening for her, I became immersed into many of these aspects and I wanted to do my best. So that's why I went on and to get credentialed. And from that journey with her, I'm able to assist clients in preparing for what may come.
Interesting. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the root of that question real quick. But I think you kind of just touched on the next one too, which is good. So 5 years of doing this, and obviously a lot of personal experience in this. We don't make it as business owners. We don't stick it out for 5 years if it's just like a hobby. Typically, if we're using it as income, right? Can you tell us something like a testimonial or a win that you've gotten for somebody where and you don't have to use any names, I would never ask for that, but like where somebody has just said something so kind about how you helped them that you carry it with you every day?
Wow. Okay. So the first one I think that comes to my mind is I knew someone that was divorced. And this is like my first encounter. So it was so impactful in my beginnings of doing this business. And they were struggling to make ends meet. They didn't know how they're going to keep their car, if they had to move, could they stay in their apartment? And we began talking. And I said, hey, listen, tell me a little more. And everything that someone says to me is confidential and secure. But what it was is they weren't aware of their ex-spousal benefits
Mm.
because they could claim their husband had started, but without getting into the details of that, they just weren't knowledgeable of the fact that they could now not just rely on their own Social Security income, but their spouse, their ex-spouse had a higher benefit. And as it ended up being able to file with her ex-spousal benefits, she was able to stay in her apartment, keep her car. She was still working. And so for me, just to see the relief on
Mhm.
people's faces, to see them in a better place is a huge, huge reward. I had a neighbor that I met about a year ago as we were walking around. It's a great neighborhood. I mean, everybody's out walking. And I found out in our conversation that her husband had just passed days before. And I said, listen, you know I work with Social Security. Are you aware of survivor benefits? And she didn't know of that either. So I share with her because her own benefits were lesser than her husband's, who she just saw days before. She just, I mean, I saw her shoulders release that she knew she could maintain her household because now she would have the knowledge to go and file and get those survivor benefits. So it's in the day to day, it's in the case by case. To me, all of those are testimonials, incremental, very rewarding.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, those are huge wins. I mean, when you see that your work impacts people's lives in a positive way, I don't think it gets better than that. Like for me, it's marketing, it's other businesses, and when we have wins with clients, it's great. We see that it's impacting businesses, which we know trickles down to their families and everything in most cases. But we're seeing that things work, but it's very analytical. It's not necessarily we're seeing numbers, we're seeing revenue, and we're seeing percentages. What you're doing is like you're seeing like relief, happiness, real emotion coming through because you're helping people in their lives, and that's that's been a wonderful aspect of this whole Meet the Experts um, uh, platform is that we talk to people all the time, have guests all the time who help with people, individuals, and I love it when I get to hear those things. All right, I'm gonna skip forward just a little bit. We kind of touched on this, but let's just go through it anyway. So I call it earned it, learned it, improved your authority, right? So just take us through a little bit about that. So what titles or certifications do you think you really needed to help you do what you're doing right now, and how'd you get them?
Well, I am a recovering perfectionist, so when I want to do it, I want to do it right, like score a 10. So I became an enrolled agent. A lot of people don't know what enrolled agent is, so I'll just give a little bit of a definition. It is a credential that the IRS actually awards. We are siloed in tax. So because I came from a corporate background in accounting and I know about bookkeeping and general ledgers and all that kind of thing, how to read a P&L and L and so on and so forth. But when it comes to taxes, there's just like over almost 3,000 codes, rules, a
Mm-hmm.
lot to keep up with. And what we can do as an enrolled agent is understand what the breadth is of tax code and implication. We can plan, we can represent someone in a tax court. Some enrolled agents focus on that. I have helped people with tax constraints before, but that's not my full time. People tend to specialize. My area kind of folds into that of my Social Security, being a registered Social Security analyst. And in both cases, I had to take a test. In both cases, I have to do each year earned credits for continuing education. So it's very much an ongoing educational, being aware of what impacts. There's a senator that I follow that makes changes, not makes changes, that follows Social Security, is a big proponent of protecting Social Security. We hear things from the IRS. Our ear is always to the ground because, let's face it, in those two particular disciplines, it is Congress that's making decisions. People get upset with IRS, people get upset with Social Security. It's Congress who's making the decisions in all of these. And having that awareness, having the education means that every time I touch a client's case, that I have the most recent information to present to them.
Hmm.
And something may not change for several months, but then sometimes a tax law will change or whatever. And I'm able to share that with them if it applies to them.
I love that. You have just continued the trend of, I think, 103 now straight guests of Meet the Experts who are lifelong learners. Continued education is is critical, and I love that in all of our businesses. I think it's best that we stay on top of what's changing and what's going on. I'm going to change gears on you. And you could keep it, you could do a professional answer or you could do personal, but I just want to know, just tell me something that you're truly thankful for in your life.
Just this whole experience. I mean, anyone who's gone through similar circumstances that I did with my mother, and by and far, I know that I am not the only one, but it will test your mettle.
Mm.
From that, I've now been able to pivot, make this a positive experience, and understand what it means as we transition and how to prepare. So it lets me provide a very special service. And again, to a lot of my fellow baby boomers and those coming up through the ranks, they feel more confident about their plans. And that is rewarding to me. And I don't just share with them the facts, I explain how, so they know how to go forward with that information too. So I think by having that interaction with people, being able to see the difference it makes for them, it lets me know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's edification for that.
Fantastic. Well, I've got one last question for you before I let you go. But before I do want to point out the ticker that's been scrolling at the bottom for most of the episode. SuncoastSSAdvisors.com is helping clients optimize their retirement as they transition from earned income. Plan while you can. Your concierge for Social Security, taxes, or living benefits is Erin Fountain. 941-248-3638 is the phone number. Go ahead, jot that down. And if you're thinking about this, can you help somebody in all 50 states?
I can. In either case, yeah, I'm not geographically bound.
Awesome. All right, great. All right. Everybody gets questions. People always ask the same question. Shoot, I probably brought up a couple of your frequent asked questions just through this interview. Everybody asks, every business that I've ever seen, people ask one, if not two, of the same thing over and over. You probably hear the same questions over and over. Give me the big one. Give me the big question that you feel like you're answering with everybody you talk to, or at least most of the people you talk to.
Oh, especially for now, coming out of COVID, right? A lot of people had to go back to work. Their jobs were closed down or whatever. How did they maintain? And if they could take Social Security, a lot of them were taking that just to pay bills. And then the caveat to that was they kept their benefits once they got that job back. But if they were under full retirement age, they didn't realize that they should have notified Social Security. Well, that puts them in a situation where they can be exceeding what's called the retirement earnings test. So I'm giving you this background because the question then is, what happens if I take benefits and continue to work? Well, it could be fine and it could be not fine. So we have a couple of questions we have to answer, like what's your full retirement age? How much income are you making? So that you don't encounter that retirement earnings test. That's the biggie most currently. I have another one. It's, do spousal and ex-spousal benefits work the same way? Well, that depends too on the length of the marriage and how long you've been divorced. And then probably all-time favorite, when should I start claiming? And that all depends. And that's the whole reason that I do the consultation, the analysis, is to reveal those options for the individual or the couple. And we look at different scenarios. And then, you know what? Surprisingly, sometimes filing earlier actually may be their best solution.
Interesting. All right. Erin, this is wonderful. I feel like I just got schooled in all of this, and I love that. So I want to thank you. Yeah, no, I can tell, and it's genuine, and it's I mean, it comes through as very genuine. So Erin Fountain, thank you for what you're doing on this planet of ours, and I'm so grateful that I got a chance to meet you, and thanks for being a guest on Meet the Experts.
Well, my thanks to you, Jay, very much.
Awesome. All right, take care.
You too.
All right. That was Erin Fountain. Listen, look her up, SuncoastSSAdvisors.com. Go get just just find out. Maybe just have her look at your records, look at what you got going on, and especially if you're getting closer to those retirement ages, right? So if you're in your 50s, I think it's probably no time like the present to start thinking, start planning. Especially if you're already doing things like planning for retirement in other ways, like IRAs or anything else. Like it's good to have experts around you. All right, well, cool. I told you if you stuck around to the end of the episode, I would tell you how to become a guest on Meet the Experts. So there you go. If you would like to be a future guest on Meet the Experts, just head on over to www.meettheexpertspodcast.com, meettheexpertspodcast.com. Fill out the form, book your sound check. That's the first chance for you and I to get a chance to meet, talk, and prepare for the episode. We'll handle everything from there and make it nice and easy, and then we'll give you the video when it's all said and done. All right. Until our next episode, take care. And hey, while you're out there today, do something nice for somebody else. Talk to you soon.